Today, we are going to get real about what it means to be a plus size nerd in the real world. Totally real. We're going to lay it all out there, talking about what it's like to visit a theme park when you are plus size. You are on time, Mandy. Hello. We're going to get real about what it means to be a plus size nerd. We're going to talk about whether or not we're too big to visit places like Universal Studios and Disney World. And if we are, what then, right? I went to Universal Studios in February, and I'm an idiot because I never remember like that there might be a problem with the rides until I'm getting into the ride. Because I don't know if it, I'm old enough now that I should catch on to what my size is. You think like I'd make that connection, but I haven't. So we go to the theme park, and every time I get up to get into the ride, I'm like, oh yeah, snap, that's right. Let's see if this bar fits. So it wasn't really top of mind for me. But then when I started posting pictures on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook about my visit to Universal, I started getting all these private messages and DMs on Facebook and Instagram saying like, did you have trouble fitting in the rides? What about this ride? Was it a bar? Was it a pullover? And what did you wear? And were you comfortable? And what, how far did you have to walk? And all these other questions. And I thought, wow, I didn't think this through. Like there are some serious concerns about what it's like to visit a theme park when you're plus size. I just kind of like tend to barrel through life. I'm super naive. I put on blinders, and like I said, things don't occur to me until like I'm right in front of it. But I thought this is a serious concern for a lot of people because hello, it's so freaking expensive. You don't want to shell out like what, $200 or more to visit a theme park and then find out you can't do half the stuff or more than half the stuff. Lame. So that is what we are hitting today. We're going to address those concerns because I feel you, man. I feel you. I've been plus size most of my life, which is why I created Plus Size Nerd, because we deserve to celebrate our curves and our fandoms. There's plus size women, and then there are nerd women, but a plus size nerd woman, breed unto her own. All right. Before I continue, if you want more videos about what it's like to be plus size, what it's like to be a plus size nerd, to talk about plus size clothes, try-ons, talk about geek entertainment, be sure to subscribe to my channel and ding that bell, because then you'll get a notification when I go live, like I do every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern, or when I post a new video. Last week, I posted a Torrid swimsuit try-on video. Check that sucker out. This week, I will be posting, Saturday morning, I will be posting a Target swimsuit try-on, Target. So you can see how that went for me. But subscribe to the channel, ding the bell, and then you will know when new videos drop. All right, let's get into it. First up, probably most popular thing to me, to a lot of you, is the Wizarding World at Harry Potter, right? First, can I just say, I want to live there. I'll take Hogsmeade or Diagon Alley. I kind of like, I don't know, they each have their own charms, but I didn't want to leave. I'm like talking to my husband about getting a timeshare, so like we can go there all the freaking time. It was awesome. But I did ride the rides, and so I can report back to you what they were like. Let's take the first one, Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. Now this one is inside Hogwarts in the Islands of Adventure Park. There are actually 2 Universal parks. I don't know if you know that. And it is clear to the back of the park. It's inside the Hogwarts castle. Here are my takeaways on that ride. It is a pullover, and it is a tight fit. There's not a huge base to sit on because they pick you up and you go all over the place. A lot of it's 3D. Do you wear glasses? No, but you're like surrounded by the screen. So it's not like you're traveling from point A to point B, but you get shooken up and you get picked up and, flipped around and this, that, and the other thing, and things come at you. I'll be honest, I missed part of the ride because I shut my eyes because it was too scary for me in the Forbidden Forest when the Dementors came. They're like, right, it was too much. It was too much. So I shut my eyes for that part. It does swing you around a lot. I read online that if you are at all uncomfortable with getting into that ride, that they will still let you wait in line. Because here's the thing, like, half of the awesome part of that ride is going through the Hogwarts castle to get to the ride. And if you fast pass it or express pass it, you'll miss a lot of the stuff, FYI, because I did it both ways. You get to see the Mirror of Erised, you get to see the herbology classroom, you get to see the Defense Against the Dark Arts classroom, and things happen while you're in there. So if you do think that you won't fit in the ride, you can still go through the castle, and then when you get up there, they have like a little escape hatch area that you can just whoop and then wait for your friends or whatnot. But more on that in a little bit. Flight of the Hippogriff. This is a little roller coaster that is also right there by Hogwarts, in the Hogsmeade area of Island of Adventures. This was the one I had the most trouble with, and I'm guessing it's because they figure it's kids riding this ride. Why would they think that? Flight of the Hippogriff. You get to see Buckbeak sitting on his nest. I will say Flight of the Hippogriff was the one I had the most trouble with. It's just like the regular old roller coaster with the bar. I had a lot of trouble with the bar rides than I did the pullover rides. For whatever reason, my giant chest doesn't seem to mess up the pullover stuff restraints, but I guess my tummy is somehow not as mushy. I don't know. The bar is a problem. This one was tight, and this one I was concerned that they were going to say, "You're going to get off," but they didn't. The guy came over and wrenched it down. It fit. My son sat next to me in the little car. He's much, much, much thinner than I am, and that poor guy, I I nearly smashed him. So if you're going to ride this, here's a tip: you can request being in a car by yourself, which I didn't know. We're going to talk about that in a minute too, because I looked up some stuff. You can request to be in a car by yourself. And when we rode, there were people in cars by themselves, but it never occurred to me to ask for that. And I really should have, because then I wouldn't have crushed my son quite so much. And the cars are not wide. Like we were, two peas in a pod right there. We were up against each other. It's a tiny ride. And it's fun, it's short, but I will say if you have to miss it because you're worried about it, you're not missing that much. You do get to see Buckbeak on his nest, but that's really about it. It's very short. It's fun. It's a lot of fun, but it's not nearly as fun as like the 3D and 4D stuff because it's just out in the world. Okay, what's next? Then let's say we hop on the Hogwarts Express to go from Hogsmeade to the regular Universal Studios park to Diagon Alley. You're not going to have any trouble there. It's a train car. Frankly, the Hogwarts Express was my favorite part of the Wizarding World because you are completely enveloped in the world. There's nothing that you see that's real life at all. So that was my favorite part. The window is a TV screen, and you get to see the countryside going by. And FYI, ride it both ways because it's different. Two different rides. So you want to ride it both ways. You have to have a park hopper pass to do that, FYI. Also, of course, they're going to make you pay to ride the frickin' train. What a bunch of nonsense. But you're completely enveloped, and they do I'm not going to tell you everything because I don't want to give it away, but let me just say it's like you're riding the Hogwarts Express. And it's a big, roomy compartment, and it's great. That was my favorite part of the whole thing. Okay, so then once you get into Diagon Alley, then you have like kind of the signature ride. Now this is Orlando I'm talking about, FYI. I haven't been to the one in Hollywood. Well, that's not true. I was there like 20 years ago. I haven't been there for the Harry Potter Wizarding World. So you get into Diagon Alley, and the big ride here is Escape from Gringotts. This one concerns people a lot. It was a bar. It was not a pullover. But it is super snug, and there's a reason, because at one point you're tipped like facing down like you're going to fall out. You're not going to fall out, and I was never worried at any point, but it's a bar. The line is really long, and again, if you can't ride the ride, if you're uncomfortable riding the ride, I suggest at least waiting in line because going through Gringotts is awesome. You get to see the goblins and you get to see stuff that it's just really great. And you get to see some scenes that you otherwise wouldn't get to see. I really liked this ride. It was tight, but this one was slightly roomier than some of the other bar rides. So I didn't really have any trouble with this one. And you're not thrown around as much like on the hippogriff. So my daughter and my son were in the same car as me and we didn't have any trouble. Also, FYI, I'm like a size 20, depending on what's going on, what brand I'm trying on. And I'm 5'1", and I'm more tummy than anything else anymore. Thanks, middle age. To give you an idea of what it's like to try to fit into these things. That's the only reason I'm going on about that. But so, Gringotts, I wasn't as worried about that one. And they do have seats to try them out. Here's the crappy part about these seats that you try to see if you fit, first of all, you have to do it in front of everybody in line. Seriously, Universal, Disney, you people, it's hard enough, being a plus size person and putting yourself out there. Do I really have to try to see if I fit into a seat? I guess you could pretend like that someone was taking your picture while you were riding in the ride, like you're riding the ride and they're taking your picture. That would be like a sneaky way of seeing if you fit or if you're comfortable or whatever, rather than just being like, let's go see if I fit in this ride, which is so ridiculous. Couldn't they just like have it like off somewhere or before you even go in or something? I don't know. Gringotts, you shouldn't have any trouble. Okay. But this is something that people haven't really talked about when I looked up information about riding rides and whether or not you will fit. One of the things in Diagon Alley that I really enjoyed was watching Celestina Warbeck sing. You may recall Celestina Warbeck is singing on the Wizarding Wireless one Christmas Eve when Harry is staying at the Weasley residence, the Burrow. And she turns it up because Fleur keeps talking and she keeps turning it up so she can hear a hot cauldron of love is the song or something like that. It's awesome. It's an awesome show. Celestina comes out, she sings, she's got backup singers. It's like a whole thing. And it's so super fun. It's backwards. I just realized YouTube shows my stuff backwards. Whatever. Anyway. There's nowhere to sit is my whole point. There's this fabulous show. We sat on the ground and getting up and down was not great. There's no chair. There are no chairs. There are no benches. There's nowhere really to sit. So you can either like lean against a couple poles that are available till there's a crowd, or you just have to sit down on the ground. You can't sit on the steps of the stage or anywhere near the stage. So if you want to watch it, there's no options. You're just either going to have to stand or sit on the ground. Nobody mentioned that in any of the stuff I looked up. That was a little bit tricky, getting up and down. And I was a little bit numb when I got up from there. But I also sat down like really quickly after one of the other shows. There are different shows throughout the day. I think they did the Deathly Hallows one with the puppet things. So as soon as that guy was done, boom, I sat down so that I would have a really good seat for Celestina because I really wanted to see that. And it was worth it. Inside the shops, it's really tight quarters inside those shops. I was constantly trying not to knock stuff over. Probably Borgin and Burke's. Woo, Borgin and Burke's was the one that I probably felt the most comfortable in Nocturne Alley. Don't miss it. I have a friend who missed Nocturne Alley somehow. Didn't see it. Maybe she didn't know to look for it. I don't know. But most of the shops are super small between the aisles, especially Honeyduke's. Dude, Honeyduke's was like, barely fit through there. So be aware of that. And Hogsmeade itself is just like a mass of people because they have the big open area in the middle of it. And just too many people. They don't manage that very well. What did I wear? That was one of the questions. So I was there in February. I don't like the heat. I'm guessing you don't like heat either. I'm guessing you don't like being sweaty and everything that goes with that. So I did not wear robes. I saw people in robes, but my robes are fairly heavy. the ones that I have. Maybe there's a more lightweight, or maybe they just don't mind the heat quite as much as I do. So it was February and it was still like around 80, maybe mid 80s, which is hot for me. So I just wore a different Harry Potter t-shirt every day. I have a bunch of them, obviously. So I just wore a different Harry Potter t-shirt every day that we went to Universal. We did 3 days. But there were people in robes. God love them. You can buy robes there. There's a couple of levels. You can buy some thinner, cheaper robes to wear. Lots of kids had those on. Or you can buy like the fancy at Madame Malkin's and Quidditch, and I don't know where else. You can buy some fancier ones. I recommend only wearing it if you know the heat doesn't bother you, wearing robes if the heat doesn't bother you, or if it's like December or January. Otherwise, I wouldn't wear robes. It's way too hot. Sorry. Sorry if I burst your bubble. I have a cool Quidditch shirt. I could wear that and bring my wand. That would be cool. And I wouldn't overheat. Okay. Let's talk about some of the other rides at Universal Studios Orlando. Specifically, the Hulk, the Mummy, Simpsons, and Transformers. I also really enjoyed the Men in Black ride. The Hulk, I was the only one in my family who went on this one. I freaking loved it. And that one I did use my Express Pass or Express Lane or whatever you call it, which was awesome. I skipped ahead. It still took me, I think, like 40 minutes to get there. Hulk is a pull down, so I had no trouble fitting. I was worried. There was, the extra pushing down on it to make sure it fit. I was a little worried about that. But it fit and it's so much fun. Anything that's like The Simpsons where you're just sitting in a car with people and you're just kind of like this and it's showing stuff on the screen, you're not going to have any trouble with unless you get motion sickness, but you're not going to have any trouble in terms of being plus size when it comes to that. Same thing. Transformers is the same kind of thing. So I looked up some stuff that other people have said, though, about having trouble at Universal. Oh, also, FYI, you're going to walk your frickin' tuchus off. There is a ton of walking. The end of the first day, I was still okay. The end of the second day, I was dragging my butt on the ground. I was exhausted. We actually just called it a night and went home and chilled or went back to the hotel because you're going to walk a ton. So stay hydrated also. So here's some things other people said. I got this from a Reddit thread. This guy is 5'11" and about 285. He says broad shoulders and his weight is in his belly. He wears a size 40 pants and his waistline is below my gut. I don't know how your waistline could be below, whatever. So he says they have seats in certain rows that are made for heavier patrons. I fit easily into one of these special seats. I just discreetly asked the young lady running the ride if I could have one. So that is an option. You don't have and own it. Here's the thing. If you're going to ask for a special seat or a seat by yourself, don't worry. Don't you dare feel bad about that. And don't you dare get embarrassed. I'm not letting you. Okay. I'm not letting you. You just go up to Cutie Pie, whoever's running the ride, and you say, excuse me, which seat do you think I should sit in? Or, excuse me, do you have any special seating? Just like that. You don't bring up the word FAT. You don't bring up plus size. You don't fit. Well, too small, too big. None of those words, right? None of that. You just say, excuse me, do you have any special seating? Excuse me, which seat do you think I should sit in? Which seat do you think I should sit in? They know what you're saying without you saying it, and they get it. Because apparently these people are prepped for this exact same thing. So this guy said he discreetly asked, and she gave him a special seat, and he had no problems. At the Mummy, he tried out the seats out front. He didn't have any issues. And again, I would do the whole I'm taking my picture so that you're not does this fit? I don't know if this is going to fit me. It might be less embarrassing. He had on the Hulk ride, rows 3 and 6 apparently are slightly larger. And he also said in general, anywhere you go, that the last row is generally a little bit more spacious for patrons, plus size patrons. So that's something to keep in mind too. If you're left to just pick your own, you might want to head to the back. You might find more space in that last row. He did not ride Rip Ride Rocket. I wasn't freaking riding Rip Ride Rocket, but not because I didn't fit. That sucker was scary. Test seats were being used by people for photo ops, and he didn't want to wait to try it out. But this is, okay, I want to read this. My confidence level was up because of the 100% success on Mummy and Potter Gringotts, so I went for it. They were assigned to row 1, though, and it was a no-go. As soon as I sat down and swung the arm over, I could tell it wasn't going to happen. Hey, you're back. I wondered why you were so quiet. I got to click several clicks. So he clicked his bar down or whatever it was, probably this thing. Staff was very friendly, but they pointed out that he could not ride the ride. They ended up giving him 2 express pass tickets for other rides. Now that's nice. So if you really want to game the system, oh, that's okay. My internet's not great either. If you really want to game the system, it sounds like you could be like, oh, I don't fit. Oh, I guess I can't ride this. Do you have any express passes I could use on something else? Maybe that would help. I don't know. Somebody else said, oh no, same guy. After the fail on the Rip Ride, test seats. Oh, yes. So for Hogwarts, here's where they're talking about the seats being super tiny. And apparently there are lights. There's a light green and a dark green, and the girl running the ride said that the dark green wasn't lighting up for me, so it'd probably be a no-go. She didn't get to actually ride. She just waited at the exit. But you should still go through Hogwarts. My friend went on, and he's a skinnier dude, and he even said the seat and restraint was tiny. Those are the ones that are super narrow on the Forbidden Journey inside Hogwarts. Commented the restraint seemed over the top for what the actual ride is. I disagree. I think the restraint is exactly as it should be because that sucker threw me around. So, but that is probably, that one and the Flight of the Hippogriff are the ones that are going to cause the most trouble. I think that was it for Universal. Now, Disney. It's been a long time since I went to Disney and rode the rides. It's been a couple of years. I didn't have any issues. I don't know that I went on all the rides, but I definitely didn't have any issues. What I read online is that in general, Disney does a way better job at accommodating plus size folks. And they call it Pooh size. That if you're Pooh size, you know, they have Pooh size seats in the rides. And one guy, though, called himself Baloo sized. But in general, Disney is the way to go if you're looking for a theme park to visit because they can specifically accommodate plus size people. This person at allears.net, this blog post said, right off, let me tell you, you don't need to be prepared for the worst. In fact, you can prepare yourself for the absolute best experience you've ever had. Walt Disney World has all types of rides with seating designed to meet the size needs of all their guests, whether they be wider or taller than the average guest. You will be most pleasantly surprised. With just a few strategies and a word or two of caution, you will be able to enjoy almost every one of Disney's attractions. One thing she specifically says is not to hesitate to ask to ride in your own seat or your own car. And she also says that the cast members, that's what they refer to, that's how they refer to the employees there and the ride people and whatnot. The cast members are super knowledgeable, she says. They're a wealth of information. Not only can you say, excuse me, which seat do you think I should sit in? Or excuse me, which seat would be best for me? Or anything like that. You can also ask for it, some of them for seatbelt extenders. So that's not this kind. It's a seatbelt kind, but you can ask for an extender. Something to remember. You can ask for an extender. Whackbag.com. What a name. Oh, thanks, Laura. Gailey said before she went, several people were posting on discussion boards. They weren't able to meet the restrictions. Okay. This one is specifically about the Flight of Passage Avatar ride in, I believe, Wild Kingdom. This one apparently is causing people trouble. It wasn't open when we were there. It opened like right after we were there. Isn't that always the way? But she said heard a cast member tell another guest they wouldn't be able to ride. And then they came over to her and she knew what was coming. She said the exact same thing. I'm really sorry. Unfortunately, we can't get the seat locked. You're not going to be able to ride the ride. She said, now this is crazy. 16 out of 16 people that rode the ride, 4 were told they couldn't fit. So 25% of the people can't fit on your ride. I think you need to do something about that. She said another 3 people in the room next to hers had to get out of the ride too. So clearly, now this was from 2017, so maybe they have changed some of the seating since then. I don't know. Oh, that's okay. You can watch the replay. It'll be here for you, Mandy. Don't worry. So possibly this one might be tricky if you go to visit. So this might be this Flight of Passage in the Avatar world might be one where you would say, which seat should I sit in? Which seat do you think I should sit in? Or if you're really worried about it, skip it. I don't know. I don't have any updated info on that. And like I said, I didn't ride it, so I can't speak from personal experience. But when 25% of the people who are riding the ride get asked to leave, hello, there's an issue there. And that is it. That is it for Disney and Universal. So overall, I don't think you're going to have a ton of issues at Universal. If at all, it would be the Forbidden Journey, possibly Hippogriff. And even then, I would do a test run, and even then, I would wait in line. Make sure that even if you don't want to ride them, even if you don't want to chance it, wait in the lines, because there's so much great stuff to see. You can just step aside when they get to the end. I'm sure that they have people who do that all the time, and they are not going to care. And Disney, it sounds like, can accommodate just about anyone except for that crazy Avatar ride. So don't be worried about going to Disney. You will fit. But having said all that, I had more than one person say, I don't want to spend all this money and then go, and then I can't ride any of the rides. I don't know how you are, how much of a nerd you are. I am so much of a nerd that I wouldn't care. Yes, I loved the rides, but my favorite part of Universal was just walking around and the shops and eating at the Leaky Cauldron and eating at the Three Broomsticks and looking in the windows and all of the stuff that goes with it, and the shows and the people in costume. To me, it was all worth it. The photo ops alone were worth it to me. Eating the big pink donut, from Lard Lad in Simpsons World, all of those things, to me, it was mega worth it. So I would imagine same thing, Disney. My favorite Disney park I guess it's Hollywood Studios, but now they have Galaxy's Edge. I was going to say Hollywood Studios because of Star Wars stuff, but now Galaxy's Edge is just opening up, and dang it, I wish I could go there. But I just like the spectacle. I like Epcot. Epcot, there aren't rides. Maybe there's a ride. I don't know. But I just love being surrounded by all of that. I am that much of a nerd that it makes it worth it for me. So you can decide that on your own. I think that even if I hadn't ridden any of the rides, there is so much to do and see that I still would have had a fantastic time. So that is it for will you fit in the rides at Universal Studios Orlando and Disney World? If you are planning to go to Universal Studios or Disney or SeaWorld or any of those places in Orlando, I do have a link that you can go to they always have deals on tickets. That's called Best of Orlando. If you buy through this link, I will get a small commission because I am an affiliate, and it will help support creating more videos and more content like this, and like the try-on videos, trying on swimsuits, trying on dresses, that kind of thing. That link is plussizenerd.com/bestoforlando, all run together, plussizenerd.com/bestoforlando. And when this is finished, I'll put a link in the comments below, in the description. And again, I'm an affiliate. I get a small commission, and that just helps me make more videos for you to make your life a lot easier. And huge announcement. I am going to start giving something away every month to someone on my email list. So if you have not subscribed to my email list, you got to get on my email list, because once a month, at the end of every month, I am going to give somebody something from that email list. This month, end of June, I am giving away, I don't know if you can see it. It is it Edward Scissorhands t-shirt from Think Geek. These are all topiaries that he clipped. These are all topiaries from Edward Scissorhands. So I like these kind of t-shirts because they're like in the know t-shirts. If you don't know what you're looking at, you won't get it. I like that. So at the end of June, one of my email subscribers will win this, and it's 2X. By the way, I ordered 2X. So don't be worried about that either. So get on my email list at plussizenerd.com/magazine. Not only do you have the chance to win a prize at the end of the month, you will also get a one-issue magazine that I created with the best hashtags to follow, best bloggers, best cosplayers, plus-size cosplayers, and I made exclusive Instagram story wallpapers for you guys that you can download and use, and they're somewhat nerdy and fun. So get on my email list to make sure that you are entered to win that prize, and be sure to subscribe and ding that bell so that the next time I post a video, you will know all about it. Guys, thank you so much for watching my video. I really hope that this helped you out, especially if you're getting ready to visit one of these parks. Look, you are awesome. You are beautiful, and you deserve to have as much fun as anyone else. So don't you dare let anyone put you off going and doing something like this. Don't let anyone ever put you off something like this because of your size. There is no reason that you, wonderful plus size nerd, can't go and have a fantastic time and feel great doing it. All right. All right. I will see you guys next Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern, right here live on YouTube. Bye.